Up next on Win News, the flood peak flows west as the clean-up bill surges towards 2016 levels, gearing up for the Bathurst 1000 and dire news for our native species.
Across the Central West, this is Win News.
Tonight, river levels remain high, but brighter days are on the horizon. Bathurst prepares for the annual pilgrimage to the mountain. And have your say on major upgrades to the Great Western Highway. Good evening, welcome to Win News. I'm Lincoln Humphries. Also tonight, nominations are in for the Golden Guitars who made the cut for Tamworth. Flood-affected communities in the Central West could be facing a very wet and muddy Christmas, with river levels unlikely to recede for another few weeks. Our reporter, Olivana Lathouris, has more. Ollie, what's the latest today?
Link, there's still significant flooding in Forbes today, water now receding but very, very slowly. The Lachlan River at the Forbes Iron Bridge is currently sitting at about 10 metres and falling, although that's still considered moderate flood level. The Lachlan River downstream at Gemalong Weir is sitting at about 7.9 metres with major flooding today. About half an hour out of Forbes, the community of Bajerabong is preparing to become completely isolated as rising floodwater cuts off roads in and out of town. Preparations are continuing in Condobolin, with minor flooding today expected to reach moderate levels by Friday. Some good news, the Bureau of Meteorology is forecasting some better weather in the coming days. Rainfall totals won't be as high as what we saw last week, and conditions are expected to improve over the weekend.
While not everyone will get the very heavy rainfall, many areas will experience that, and flooding is likely to increase for the coming days. But we see many rivers are currently in the minor to moderate flood warning, and we still have the Lachlan and a few other rivers around major flooding. Now, this widespread heavy rainfall is falling on already saturated soils and catchments, and dams are already full.
However, even without that rain, the water is still moving through our river systems. So for communities like Condobolin and Bajerabong, they're certainly not out of the woods just yet. Link.
Thank you, Ollie. Preparations for the Bathurst 1000 are well underway. The city getting ready to welcome up to 200,000 spectators for 6 days of non-stop action on the famous Mount Panorama.
It looks quiet now, but not for long. Bathurst starting its engines in preparation for the return of the country's most iconic racing event. Olivana Lathouris, Win News.
Some communities in the Central West are being warned of a COVID-19 outbreak after more infections were recorded today. There were 10 new infections recorded across the region, 6 in Coonabarabran and 4 in Orange. Coonabarabran, which has a population of just over 2,500 people, has recorded 26 cases in just 4 days. Residents in both areas have been told to take extra care and get tested as quickly as possible. Central West residents are being encouraged to have their say on upgrades to the Great Western Highway between Little Hartley and Lithgow. The $2.5 billion upgrade would see the road transformed into a 4-lane highway with the aim of improving safety and travel times. With more than 10,000 vehicles using the stretch of road daily, the Deputy Premier, Paul Toole, says the upgrade is now a priority. A government review of environmental factors is now available for the community to read, with several online community information sessions to be held before Christmas. Residents will be able to make submissions until December 22nd. Disability advocates fear NDIS reforms intended to improve the experience for its almost 500,000 participants could lead to unwanted intervention. The proposed changes include giving the CEO power to tweak plans without in-depth consultation.
It's back to the drawing board for divisive proposed changes to the NDIS. Sophie Lester, Win News.
Still to come on Win News this evening, different treatments for mental health emerging. And Murrumbidgee Health District's biggest challenges over the next 12 months. Andrew Wallace will take over as Speaker of the House, replacing the long-serving Tony Smith. The member for Fisher was the Coalition's pick as the member for Casey steps down to spend his final months in Parliament working for his electorate. The Liberal backbencher feigning reluctance to move into the role. Nearly 80% of Australia's threatened species are under further risk from invasive pests, and experts warn of a looming wave of extinction without urgent intervention. A fresh report suggests we're at a tipping point and could see that decline rapidly accelerate over the next 3 decades.
From mouse plagues to feral pig populations that outnumber people, pests are costing us $25 billion a year.
Leaders in mental health are working hard to provide options for people who don't respond well to traditional treatments for depression. Around a third of patients hit roadblocks with conventional medication, but some new products on the market are producing encouraging results.
Depression has a grip on a significant portion of the population.
A major depressive disorder affects over 2 million people in Australia right now.
If you or anyone you know needs support, you can contact Beyond Blue or Lifeline on 13 11 14. Alex Johnston, Win News.
The past year has been one of the most difficult for our local health workers, serving up a number of challenges on top of the pandemic. The Murrumbidgee Local Health District with the task of addressing a worker shortage and chronic disease in the coming months.
It's been one of the most challenging years the local health district has faced.
Let's check the sports news with Melissa Russell. Now it's finals time in the WBBL.
Yeah, it is. Linked with the big question is, can anyone stop Lisa Griffiths' scorchers? And a rising star of Australian racing looking to end his apprenticeship.
This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Everything you need in electrical, technology, furniture and bedding. Shop in store and online today.
Katie Mack believes Adelaide is primed to strike ahead of tomorrow night's WBBL Eliminator against the Heat. The opener will have a key role to play with the bat following a breakout season in Strikers colours.
It's been a season to remember for Katie Mack.
Brock Ryan's history-making win in the Gong proved a fairy tale end to his jockey apprenticeship. The 27-year-old repaying the faith to father-son training duo Rob and Luke Price, who took a chance on the once wayward hoop, helping him get back on the straight and narrow.
Brock Ryan's still hard at work in the final days of his jockey apprenticeship. Corey Hammond, Win News.
And Link, that is our night in sport.
Excellent, Mel. Thank you very much. Let's check those weather details and your forecast up next.
This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Everything you need in electrical, technology, furniture and bedding. Shop in store and online today.
Welcome back to Win News. Time for a look at those weather details from today. Partly cloudy with morning fog and showers, mostly about the Blue Mountains today. Breezy with high humidity around Coonabarabran this morning with a max of 25 there. Much warmer for Coonamble, nudging 30 as was Nyngan. Orange was one of the few places to slip back under the double digits overnight, as it usually does. Very strong winds around Bathurst and Oberon, seeing gusts at close to 40 kilometres per hour, with a max of 26 there for Cowra, staying in the double digits overnight, as did Bathurst and Lithgow, 10 degrees overnight. On the charts, a high pressure system over the southern Tasman Sea will continue to move slowly east over the coming days. It'll settle near New Zealand by Friday. On the synoptic, a trough of low pressure moving into the west tomorrow will lead to increasingly unstable conditions. Showers, rain and thunderstorms expected to move across our region from Wednesday to Friday, I'm sorry to say, and some heavy falls are likely. So let's take a look at that forecast for tomorrow now. Cloudy with rain, thunderstorms tomorrow. Heavy falls possible, especially about the central west slopes and plains. 28 coming up for Coonamble, Nyngan and Warren. 19 degrees overnight for Nyngan and Warren. Plenty mild. 25s for Gilgandra, Dunedoo and Dubbo, also for Wello. Condobolin also heading for 25, as is Forbes. It's a popular top. Orange is getting down to 11 overnight, as is Lithgow. 12's coming up overnight for Bathurst and Oberon. For Orange, rain and possible storms, around 8 to 15 millimetres possible, a top of 19 degrees expected. For the days ahead, Thursday, cloudy with heavy rain and storms. Friday's looking similar. By Saturday, for your weekend, cloudy with a high chance of showers. That is all for this evening. Thanks for your company. Good night.
This has been a Win News presentation. Win News. News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.